and the buyers all went to the same table at the same time, the same closing agent. That's just how it was done. And we went down there, and my seller and I walked in, and the buyer was an engineer, a single male engineer. And after about 10 minutes, I looked at the seller and I looked at the closing agent, and the buyer was like this on page 1 still. And he was going like this through every line and stopping. And then going, hey, is that right or wrong? Does he have a right to read every word?
Yes.
Does he have a right to understand what he's selling? And I had a right to look at the closing agent, and I said, Mr. Eckstein, we're going to be next door. Well, next door was an Irish pub. So we went next door to the Irish pub and sat there for an hour and a half drinking Guinness before she goes, okay, he's done signing. I said, great, we'll be right over. So we came over, signed, and then we were out. Okay? Again, it's not a matter of who's right or wrong, but if I had an engineer client or an accountant client or somebody that I had identified as a high C, to make their life better, I'm going to make sure they get a copy of every document they're going to sign before they have to sign it. It's going to be a better time management for you. It's also a favor to you because you're going to feel a lot more comfortable about what you're signing. So what are you hearing so far?
Have an adaptive personality to who you're working with. It'll make your relationship better with your client. It'll make it better with the people you work with.
Yeah. Be willing to adapt your personality to what's them. Again, we're all agents in this room. We want that commission check. And yet when you always keep in mind 2 things, your fiduciary duty and your obligation to communicate in a way that will be good for them. So thank you, Zach. What else are you hearing?
The lead gen strategy you decide will play to your strengths, or it should, because then it's easier for you to do it.
Right, the lead gen, I'm repeating this for the podcast. The lead generation strategy you decide should be good for you. And by the way, you'll relate a lot better to the people that are contacting you. And just here's a secret. If you get good at farming and you get good at social media and you get good at blogging or one or all 3 of those strategies, by the time they contact you, they've already decided you're their agent. So don't talk them out of it. At that point, so I used to be a blogger. If you Google my name, you will still find me on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of websites. And the one that's caseyinvestmentproperty.wordpress.com has made me, I won't say it because some people get all upset. I have made a lot of money on that since 2006, since I started blogging, and it still makes me money today. I had 49 referral checks last year, and I didn't sell a single house. Okay? And here's the thing about it. It took me about a year or 2 to figure this out, but everybody that contacts me has already decided I'm their agent. Because I write about houses, investments, I write about what works, what doesn't work, at least in my opinion. And I also write about Kansas basketball, and I write about political issues, and I write about Kansas City. So by the time they've already contacted me, they've already decided they like me or they don't. They've already made the decision. And for a guy who's a high DC, I could sit there at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning after the family's gone to bed, and I could write, put it out there into the world, and some people would like it, and some people wouldn't. I didn't have to worry about being rejected by the people who wouldn't, because they just didn't read it. True story. Sitting in that room right over there, years and years ago, there was the closing, and then the whispering started. Anybody ever been in a closing when the buyer and seller start whispering to each other? Oh boy, what did I do wrong, right? And then I said, okay guys, what is it? Let me know, because I'd rather just handle it head on, ID. And they said, well, we're not sure, we should tell you. I said, tell me what? So Pat, I swear, they looked at me and they went, we're both Missouri graduates. And I said, well, why is that a concern? I said, well, we know how you feel about Missouri. I said, yeah, I'm not changing that, but why is it a concern? And they were like, we didn't want to tell you until we closed because we wanted to make sure you'd still work with us. That's, wow. Because I mean, well, do you see? Guess who they were? They were S's, but they wanted the knowledge. All I'm trying to say is it's okay to be yourself. Figure out what your lead generation is. Figure out how you relate to people. Some people aren't going to like you. Sorry, it's just the way life is. You can concentrate on that, or you can concentrate on the people that will like you. And by the way, their economic fortunes will be better because of you. Their families will be better because of you. Think about that. What you do is honorable and important work. So how can we best help them? By honoring our fiduciary duty, if we have one, because we've chosen that kind of agency with them, and by communicating with them in a language that is beneficial to them, not you. That's not fake, that's not sleazy, that's actually learning the science of how I can help you better understand so that you will feel comfortable making a good decision. And that good decision could be to buy or not buy, to sell or not sell. And when you keep that in mind, you'll have a great, great real estate career from here on out. Any thoughts or anything before I'm done? All right, give me two ahas and then I'll be quiet, I promise. What did you learn?
Okay, well, I'm super new to all of this.
Okay.
So I've never really heard about this before about 3 months ago when I got hired here. So it's all very new to me. And I took it, and I was a high D and also a C.
Okay,
And when I was
that's a
kind of-
nightmare, by the way.
Yeah, when I was kind of reading through it, it was a little confusing. But my husband is a high S and an I, and we butt heads constantly. And so being able to actually understand why I think he should just do things differently, and why he thinks I should just stop
Right.
being so constant, is actually very helpful. And even this last month or so, our communication has been ridiculously better. It's not even just surface level stuff. It really is.
Well, you begin to understand each other.
Really is.
And by the way, most marriages are opposites on the disc. Most marriages that work are opposites on the disc. That's not unusual,
Good to know.
okay? It's definitely not unusual. And the second thing I would say to you there is, there is tons of information about disc out there on the web. Once you know what it is, you can this is stuff you can study on your own. KW Connect has a lot of stuff on it as well. So fantastic. And by the way, for those of you who will build a team in your real estate career, time and time again, it is proven I won't hire high DCs. A high DC personality I will not hire. Based on this, why do you think that is?
They'll try and boss you.
In a very short order of time,
They'll
and
leave.
time is all relative depending on what the skill set is, they're gonna think you're dumb and they can do it better themselves and go out and get it done better. So you spend all that time training, all of that time developing, and as soon as you start to get them developed, they've already said, I'm out. I can do this on my own. I'm a DC. Do you know how many jobs I've been fired from? It's unbelievable. This is the longest job I've ever held. It's not even 3.5 years yet. Some of you are laughing. Go talk to Marie. It was crying for her. That's early in our marriage.
So if that's the case, would you argue the point that not all, but a lot of realtors are high D, high C because of the whole mentality of I can do this, I'm gonna do something on my own?
The two reasons I hear that people become real estate agent over and over and over and over and over again, if I made the point, it's in some form or fashion, it's always, I want control of my time, or I want control of my money, or usually both. Okay, that's why so many agents are high Ds and Is. The S's, and this is not, if you breathe, the S's come in and say, I'm looking to be on a team. Okay? Not right or wrong, it's just they want control of their time or money and they want the safety of being on a team. That's okay. Yet you need to know who you are and what you're walking into. It's just a little bit of a different deal. Any other ahas before we're done? Questions? Then it's over. Have a great day. Go dig into this. It is fun. It is actually a lot of fun to learn. You're welcome.
So proud of you.
Are you serious? I meant to find you the other day. He was always the one that was like, I mean, every single time I saw him, I was like coming back and was like the walk of
Yeah,
shame.
she was like,
Not like that, but kind of like that. Yeah, I mean, people ask me that, you know, I can't say, I don't notice it too much, and honestly, I think that I just, I don't know, I mean,
So everybody that's not in the Kansas real estate school, you guys can vacate the room so Randall can turn it back over to the students. That would be fantastic.
how are you?
I don't know, I gave it away, and I'm not looking anymore, but I don't know, I'm wondering if it's something else to do with in my, that happened in a while. But I mean, I'm not eating more, so I don't know, Debbie said the same thing.
No, it's just bringing awareness.
I think I was just ready and wanted to do it for a long time.
There is, this
And
isn't
I
about
mean,
good
I
or
was sick
bad.
of it. So 3 days, and I'm like, why am I going to go? Because after 3 days, they don't taste it, you know, it's like, so I'm like, oh, you can do it. And then you're talking again. Yeah, choking, exactly, so yeah. Well, I have an app, I think I'm at like $200, which.
There is no right or wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you gonna do for yourself?
And we all have the danger of.
Let me do something that's
Get a big bag of heroin.
Yeah, how about a new album? Yeah, I'm like,
The
what?
addicted person.
No, I mean, I've done it before.
Because my first reaction, especially when I was young,
Yeah, I know.
my wife was 20, I should be here right now.
I went this long.
You know,
So
and she needs to go to.
She'll tell you it's been 16 years and there are still days I'm missing.
So it's just.
I haven't had too many, but I've had a few. But yeah, I did. I wanted to let you know because I figured, you know, you're like, always being like, but it's just like rushed.
Yeah. So
I'm so happy.
So the older I get, the less I'm concerned about right or wrong, the more I'm.
But I'm very intense and I haven't, you know, and I've been in part yet, you know, situations
Kind of work
where
with it and I
it,
don't.
yeah.
And I'm at my first
awesome.
thing, I'm not going to.
Never mind.
Okay, that makes sense.
No, not ever.
It's a type of.
Have you ever done strengths finders?
Yeah, Strength Finders is another good one.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of.
Myers-Briggs.
Your what?
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs. So what are you on Strength Finders?
Well, they give you your top 5.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. People ask me this all the time. Positivity, includer.
What are you?
Yeah. You know, I've heard about tar buildup
Positivity.
but
Yeah,
I
what
used
is
to
that?
smoke in my room all the time.
They were all
I
relational.
never noticed it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's good. Mine are,
In your room? You haven't got yours?
no matter which one you go to, mine all pretty much say
Probably have a yellow.
leader. Really make sure you slow down.
Probably yellow.
Yeah, no, like I can, it calls me a relator in Strength Finders, but it's not like you like long. But they all say that I should slow down and listen to people. I'm a great coach because that's an active speech, but except for very few people in my life. I let like very few people, those people I know everything else in life. And everybody else, so they kind of get into that circle. But I every day.
I swear, he just didn't want to go that last day before spring break. He doesn't have a few where I take it.
Wow.
Stay focused as you're talking. Good idea. I don't want to
Take care.
Yeah, you did.
Standing up the back of the room.
You're under contract, that's awesome, man, congratulations.
Straight at the end.
I'm excited for you. I'm sure you are.
I'm a CIS. CIS. Oh, you are CIS. Thank you.
You're welcome. So go, two more, so in case someone after you guys.
Which personality fifth?
Oh, man, I'm a high
Boom, congratulations.
I knew that in a minute.
Let me say that I'm
As soon as they distracted.
You are II because you helped me with the way you sent me a text. You also have a lot of S in you. Hey, let me show you
Yes.
how to help. Yeah. So
Those are my two.
Yeah. So this isn't about, again, it wasn't about right or wrong, it's just about
identifying who you are, but later those strengths. Just be aware of the other
CSI.
Maybe you're in the wrong business. For whatever personality type, I can point to somebody in this office that's making a nice living. It's just, by and large, it just seems fair or not fair, D's and I's are attracting this business with a bigger population. And by the way, cities are this way too. Like I lived in DC for 15 years. That's a very high D, high I city. If you think about it, it's because everybody who's high D wants to live there. So they move in. I mean, there's very few people that are actually born and raised there. And then whereas when I moved to Tulsa, it was a cultural situation. It's very much a mess.
Yes.
So it's just a,
Have you ever been to Texas?
yes.
What do you call that?
I call that a weird state, man.
Why?
The one thing I love about
I thought it was
Texas,
weird.
Texas is one of the first states in the union to add bicycle safety, how the cars interact with bicycles, and their drivers does.
Yeah.
And so as a bicyclist, I actually feel far safer in Texas riding a bike than I do around here. Because cars will
Yeah.
get up.
Texas is like.
Around here, it's,
I love
Oh,
it.
it is.
so, Houston,
Yeah.
I'll let you guys get back to school.
What about the waiting for DC?
I'm sorry?
DC?
In DC? Well, I'm in DC, like I said, I wouldn't hire you.
No,
But you-
I wasn't looking to be hired here either.
Well, no. But what I mean is, as an employee, I wouldn't hire you. As an agent, I would hire you in a heartbeat. Because, but what you need to understand is, I see this every once in a while, a high DC personality will come in and say, I want to be on a team, I want to be on a team. Well, the problem is that's not fair to the rainmaker of the team.
Yeah.
Because I know, whether, no matter how much you promise, if that really is an accurate statement of you, within 6 months, you'll be like, wait, this better. I don't have to listen to him, I'm going to do it my way. And that's, if you know that about yourself, just go for it, just go. So you're DC?
There's an old adage, I'm trying to remember who the quote was from. Two men in business together who always agree,
Yeah.
one of them's unnecessary.
That's absolutely true. Yet somebody has to be in, that's why when people say a 50-50 marriage, really? Someone's 50.5 and the other one's 49. There has to be, in any organization, there has to be somebody, now, it can change from subject to subject. Does that make sense? So you can have a division of duties. There's a high DC, you just need to identify what the lead generation is going to work for you and the business model and the culture that you want to be in. That's, I would say to you, to anybody in here, and I don't care whether you join Keller Williams recently, with Motor Homes or Garden Tree, just figure out what culture fits you. Because you'll do better in a culture that fits you regardless of what the split is. Joining a company because of the split is the cart way before the horse. So I trust yourself, because the D and the C tells me make decisions quickly, but calculate them. So trust yourself and go with where you think that culture is going to support that the most. And then the hardest part, because I'm a DC, the hardest part is I'm interacting here, and I walk away thinking we had a good relationship. She's walking away going, man, that guy's a jerk. Because and so it is kind of funny, but it's also it will hold you back until you're ready to accept that it's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible. You're not always right. Does that make sense?
Gary doesn't
No,
like to be
I'm
wrong.
right.
Well, and that's, if you go into my office on this shelf there, years ago, they presented me when I was an agent here, and it was the Lord Farquaad Award. And it said, others think you're right, but you know you are. You know, so it was very much a backhanded compliment, you know, so, but it's true. So have fun with it, go down I hope that helped you guys, okay?
Yes, thank you.
It was very interesting.
So Mary, maybe I'm just gonna have Tom Matthews.
Yeah,
Does he work here?
I think so.
Then you are CSI.
Do you know Jackie Lennon?
No. I've heard the name.
She was personally.
Again, I think we're up to 340 agents or something like that.
Yeah.
And we're all running in and out different times of the day and night. And so you don't meet everybody.
What time this office is open? What time every day?
When I get here, I have a key.
9 o'clock?
I have a key. I can come in anytime, day or night.
That's you. Time on the door says 8:30, if you look at it.
Oh.
Well, you're talking about the office to the public,
Yeah.
but to an agent,
Anytime.
It's not
Everybody has a
restricted.
key.
huh?
Everyone has a key.
Yeah, Every agent has a